Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Infertility, the Black Experience. My name is Valerie and I am here talking about infertility, surrogacy, IVF and infertility issues that affect women. More so importantly, or basically my own journey and just different things that I've went through. My goal is to offer information, support, and resources that those who are going through infertility may be able to find a space to get information, have conversations, and just find out information, and just to be encouraged by someone who went through it. This is called Infertility, the Black Experience, because like in previous video, I was saying that when I was going through my situation of infertility, there was not a lot of information as far as the Black community and Black women talking about it that I knew of. So I just wanted to kind of like give my overview and my experience. Like I said, my husband and I were dealing with infertility for some years. A lot of years we went through IVF and different kind of protocols trying to conceive, and we ended up a long journey. Lo and behold, we ended up having a gestational surrogate where we had someone carry our child. So I really want to get to that part and talk about that, because a lot of people may not know that that option is available to them. A lot of times people ask me about it and say, oh, you know, I never heard of anybody doing that. The only persons I know of are like famous people who do that, or wealthy people. We are not, we are not, rich. So it's not like, this just kind of like, oh, it's just so easy. We went through the struggle of doing it, and it was definitely a sacrifice. And I definitely want to encourage you guys that that option is available. There's a lot of different things you can do. And just kind of like encourage you through your journey. I'm talking about, I'm kind of like trying to put things in order as I talk about different things, but I'm sure that it's going to go back and forth because it's like a story kind of weaves in and out in different places. So you may be, hopefully you'll find yourself in these conversations, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. So this is a new channel. I'm excited about doing it. I am not so excited about putting myself out here and kind of like bearing my soul and all my personal information. Like, I'm not that type of person, but I feel like to me it's important. Like, I got to the point to say, okay, you know what, it's important for somebody else, but you know what, it's really important for me too, because just me talking about my experience and kind of processing everything that happened, because if you're a person who are going through infertility, you know exactly what I'm saying. You don't have time to kind of like process things. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. Like, this is not happening to me right now. Like, like I said before, from the time that we are young women and girls and babies, we have our baby dolls, we sing our little nursery rhymes, and we automatically assume, we automatically assume that this is the natural progression of life and no problem, until one day you are hit with this situation, and it's not easy. And it's very difficult. And what makes it even more difficult is you don't have that community support. We always say it takes a village, right? But what happens when you don't have the village, or what happens when you're shunned outside of your village? And it's a lot, guys. So I just want to ask you again, please support the channel, share the videos, subscribe, most important, please. Turn on your notifications, like the videos, please put comments, because I like to be interactive. What is giving me help to kind of go through with this and like talk about everything that I'm doing is to know that's important to somebody else, to know that it's important to continue, and that people are interested in what I have to say. Like, honestly, I'm not really here to be just like, okay, somebody just like what I'm saying. I really want to know, like, if it's helpful. Then that way it makes me, just makes it a little bit easier for me to kind of like share out and, just keep going on what I'm doing. So please support the channel. I'll just say that. And more so than not, I hope this is bringing awareness to you guys. even if a person, even if you're not like going through infertility yourself per se, this will be helpful to you to know how to support somebody else. And like I said, you could share it with them also, but at the same time too, it does take a village. And as women, we should, try to support each other. We have a lot in common, and there's a common ground there. And just, support your sister. Just be there for her, for a listening ear. Difficulty about situations like this is that it's kind of awkward. No, it's not kind of awkward. It is awkward, and you really don't know sometimes what to say. I know there was a lot of well-meaning people in my own life that were well-meaning, but then it ended up, not a good situation, or it was just, they were well-meaning, but you just certain things you don't really want to say to a person. And we're going to get all into that. Like, well, I'm going to talk about all the little nuances and different things that happen to me. Some of it is funny, and some of it is like really painful. Like, just some things you just don't say, and you just don't ask people, because it's like personal kind of business. But anyway, we'll talk about that at another situation. But what I wanted to talk about today is really it's really heavy for me, guys. And so, like I said, I'm trying to connect the dots here and kind of like have some kind of rhythm of how we're talking about this. So I wanted to talk about reaching back. Infertility, the Black experience, and reaching back. And when I talk about reaching back, there's a saying that goes, if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. So I wanted to know, like, where is all this shame coming from with women? Like, why do we have so much guilt and shame and just, kind of like hating our bodies, really? Like, it's a lot. So I talked to some older women. Like, I'm always trying to do that, and I try to kind of like pinpoint like their stories and things that they've gone through, just to kind of see how it was when they were growing up, and what where did this come from in the community? Is it like a religious thing? Is it a community thing? Like, is it a Black thing? Is it a white thing? So all these different questions. And I just want to say, first of all, one thing for me is why I'm doing this is two reasons. Number one is just to kind of like, well, more than two reasons, but one of the things is kind of like to tell my own story and just share that, release that. I think it's good for me to help somebody too. Hopefully younger people, younger women, it can help, just stop the cycle, and people can be aware earlier on to look at things rather than waiting and until you get older and not really realizing it. But then at the same time, just to stop this madness, stop the madness, in our communities, and the thoughts and these superstitions and taboos and all these isms, or whatever you want to call it, the foolishness, that's going on. And when I say that, I don't mean to be, disrespectful to anyone, and, try to come down on anyone. So that's number one. I could just say that, a lot of things that, the older women went through, it's not to come down on you guys to say anything, because, hey, you could only do what you know. Like, you can only be the best mom, the best wife, or, whatever you can with what you've been given. So if these things have been passed down through generations, and this is all we know, and we continue to pass this down to girls, we have to stop the cycle, guys. So this video is talking about reaching back. So why the taboo? Why is this thing about infertility and just women in general? So I was talking to just some older women, because I'm just trying to get an understanding of where all this came from, because we're kind of doing it to ourselves. Like, we're perpetrating this through generations, and no one talks about it. It's just like this whole secret that nobody talks about. I was talking to someone the other day. I said, hey, menopause, even, like, of course, you know, menopause is, and you can look it up and like Google it or whatever, but you never really hear anybody say, oh, this is what it is, and this is what you can expect, and this is what I went through, and this is how I handle this, and this is what my situation. You never really hear anything like that. So anyway, just a long story short, like I said, talking to women who are older, and like I said, all respect. Like, this is in no way to bash anybody or anything like that. That's not what this is about. But at the same time, is to bring things out in the open. There's a saying I love too. It says, you know, in order to heal something, you have to uncover it, right? So if you've ever had a sore, right, and you know, you ever put a bandage on it and it's just not healing, you know, sometimes you have to take the bandage off. You have to let some air get into it. You know, you have to let some air get into it. And then I was talking to someone the other day. They went even further. They said, you know, sometimes you have it covered up so much it looked like it's healed, but what's happening really is festering. It's infected. You know, it looks covered, it looks healed, and it looks like a scab on the outside, but then it oozes. And so these are the things that are happening. There's running infections that are going on in our communities, in our households, in our societies, in our relationships, as in our whole being, in our ideas of who we are as women. You know, that shame and that guilt and all those things that are affecting us. And so I was asking some of the older women, like, you know, how were women affected, you know, when they were, you know, how were they looked upon, you know, when they were you know, if they were infertile and different things, and going through infertility, you know, didn't have children. And so a lot of things came up, really kind of like about infertility, but not much. But one of the things they were saying is that basically they were terrified, terrified, like, to be a young woman, and to, you know, to come up pregnant, or to, you know, be married out of wedlock. These are the kind of things that happen. And I think that's kind of like where it started, you know, even to the point of, you know, banning their stomachs, you know, putting wrappings around their stomachs to hide their pregnancy, to hide the child that they were carrying, banning themselves. Yeah. So, you know, it's just you know, when you really think about it, you know, they couldn't really talk about it, and basically that kind of like started the shame of it. Some women talked about how they ended up, you know, some women having children but hiding having the baby, you know. So a lot of different things, you know, going on. You know, when we talk about protection, you know, a lot of times that was not available, especially to, you know, Black women or people who couldn't afford different things. You know, a lot of our ancestors, you know, they had, you know, somebody out in the bushes somewhere, or in the fields, and they understood medicines and things like that. And God knows, I wish we had some of those things right now, because when you look at it, we didn't have the high instances of fibroids and tubal blockages and all these other issues going on with our reproductive system. But they didn't have all these things, so some women ended up doing abortions and illegal things, you know, losing their lives. And it's just a horrific, horrible situation. And in the way that they were treated, in the way that they were shunned as women, you know. And then you hear women who, you know, even in adolescence, they didn't even understand anything about sex, but they were called whores. You know, they were called you know, they were called the B word, you know, witches and things, you know, you know, with the B word. So I'm just like, why are we doing this to these girls? Like, when you think about adolescence, that's the time when girls are very sensitive, and they're learning the value in their self-esteem, and for their mothers and their aunties and their, you know, the women that they look to understand who they are and who they're developing to be as women, to be called such names, because of your sexuality, to make you feel like it's dirty, or to make you feel like, you know, you should be ashamed of something, is not acceptable. And you know, I just wanted to say, because we think that these things are happening like years ago, but honestly, this stuff is still happening now. And so I just want to seriously, it's no judgment here. If this is how you're relating to your daughters, and, this is how you were raised and you just don't know a better way, one thing is just don't do that. You don't want to do that, because you cause a lot of harm. With these girls, with their sexuality, some of them become afraid to talk to you about that. And if they become pregnant, unfortunately, some people don't go through a situation of being infertile because it just happened to them. Some of them end up becoming infertile because of different abortions and things like that. So, I just want us to think about, what we're doing and where is it coming from? Is this something that we just learning and we just continue to perpetrate the cycle? Or is it something that, we understand that this is, that this is how we should be doing it? So I always say, hey, if you know better, you can do better. If you don't know, you don't know, and you did the best that you could. We just want we just want to change that cycle. Like I said, it's a horrific thing. The things that our, ancestors and women went through in their bodies. It's a large conversation because, a lot of women went through it. We could talk about this subject all day. It's just really a bad situation. So how does all of this connect? And so I look at it is it's the shame that binds us. Women who are infertile, or, dealing with infertility, because remember, infertility is only a state at a point. Just because you are battling infertility issues right now does not mean that that's your portion. Things can change for you, and that's why I wanted to talk about the different options and just being proactive and using preventive care, because, you can make a difference now. You can make a difference now, just in the choices that you make as far as being older and just trying to look at different things and going and seeking out. We were talking about IVF, and we're going to go deeper into all these things. I just want to kind of I'm just really trying to be reflective about, a lot of different things. But, so it's the shame that binds us. It's the shame that binds us, because you have a lot of these women who carry the shame of womanhood and their bodies and feeling like they're dirty, and who've been called, whores and all these things by their own, household. And it's not a thing that's not normal. It's a lot of people kind of experience that, but you need to stop the cycle, guys. And so how does it connect? When we talk about women before who were infertile, again, it's the shame. It's the shame that connects us. And a lot of women talked about how at that time, women who didn't have children basically were given children who were, quote unquote, illegitimate, right? Illegitimate. No child is illegitimate. Every child that's here is legitimate, right? So I don't know if that's another whole situation. But they were basically given to raise children who there was shame caused by that for whatever reason. They were raised by someone else in the community. They were raised by auntie. You hear people who were raised by their own sisters, their own mothers, but they were told that that was their sister. Somebody's cousin raised them. I was talking to someone and they were telling me they have a person 80 years old and they still don't know who their real parent is because they were given to somebody. So at that time, women who didn't have children played a vital role in the community because they took care of the children that were not, I don't want to say wanted, that's so sad, but children who, just couldn't be raised by their parents for whatever reasons. Sometimes the girls are young and their families just didn't see it fit that they wanted to bring shame on their family. How sad, guys, how sad. So we have to know like, where's all this stuff coming from? Where's all this shame coming from? Because it just didn't start. This is something that has built up through the generations. built up through the generations, where we've been taught to hate ourselves and taught that, the value if you don't have children, or if you have children, outside of society. And I understand that too, because I'm not gonna, I wouldn't teach my daughter, okay, go ahead, yeah, just go out there and do whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. There is principles, and I understand that, and there is honor to things. But what I'm saying is that we should not shun somebody to the point where they want to kill themselves and kill their child and harm people because this situation happened. And we don't celebrate that. That's not what I'm saying. But there's got to be a balance. You don't want to be from one extreme to another extreme. And then the other situation, you have the church. You have religious views with that, where the church, some churches, and I'm not gonna wear religious views. I'll say that, because certainly I'm sure there are churches and people who are empathetic and who love and who are real in what they believe. But a lot of this thought also has been embedded in the church community. You hear of a lot of women today. Today, I know people recently, in the last not long, who are recently who are shunned, who they're asking you that you can't participate. You need to sit down. You need to hide yourself. You're not welcome. It's just so much shame. And so it's just really sad. Some of the places that you were thinking that you can go to be helped and to be supported is the very places that are telling you that you're not worthy and telling you that you have no value. So again, my hope is that a lot of these conversations we can make a change, and realize that we have more in common, and that we can be strong together, because a lot of the taboos, a lot of superstitions, where people just don't understand your reproductive body, and you thinking it's a curse, and you thinking it's a taboo, and you calling these girls all these things, and it's just we really have to stop. And I hope that this cycle and this thought and these mental ideas and these religious ideas would stop and would cease, and that we would let people in the society and support them wherever they are. Wherever they are, let's meet them where they are, you know what I'm saying, and support. And that's the whole thing too, guys. And I just really wanted to feel like too, if you're in a situation where you feel like you're having this child, or you may be expecting a child, something like that, rethink it. You don't have to be ashamed about anything. There's a lot of women, there's a lot of couples, people who don't have children, who love children. A lot of people a lot of couples who don't have children, they would be some of the best people to raise children, because they love children, because the child is wanted. And so I just wanted to peel on that level. I hope I'm not going outside of my boundaries, but I just wanted to really kind of encourage you guys. And my whole thing is that there's different options for everything. Don't feel backed up in a wall, and don't make decisions based on shame and guilt, and somebody telling you through their lens that you are not worthy, and telling you through their lens that this is not the standard that somebody else puts you up to. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. So healing the shame that binds us, reaching back, guys. We don't want to repeat this history. We don't want to take it with us. And so there's a lot of shame, that we share on both sides. And yeah, so these are just some things I was talking about. We'll probably revisit a lot of these different things, and hear from different people and situations that they've gone through. If you guys want to talk about, if you want to make a comment, you could definitely make a comment. If you want to send me an email, I love to hear that. Like I said, I want this to be interactive, because I think it can really help. And I think even sometimes just talking about your own story, for me, being on camera, talking about this is not easy. one of the things you can do if you're going through this, or if you went through this, or you're a mom and this is how you were raised and you don't know anything and you're raising your daughters like this, and you want to learn different things, you can definitely stop. You can, make different decisions. And really for me, the other thing is, just talking about different things. You may not have a camera and you might not want to go on camera, but take out a piece of paper and just write a letter, write a story, write what happened, write, the pain, the guilt, the shame. Rip it up. After that, it's over. You have to get this stuff out of you, because, sometimes you'll feel like it's not affecting you. But then what happens is it comes out in different ways. And so, I see a lot of times women who had children who were young, the first thing they'll say is, I know this happened to me and I don't want this to happen to my daughter. And your daughter might not even be thinking along those lines. But what happens is you're putting your shame and you're putting your situation on that other person. And I understand to a certain extent, you definitely want to, not allow your child to make the same mistakes, but to what extent? Is it to the extent of shame? Is it to the extent of fear? So it's just a lot of things to talk about. And I think, just to be able to reflect on those things is, just really important. So, I hope these conversations are helpful. It's helpful to me because I'm learning a lot. I didn't know a lot of things that went on, and it's really unspeakable. It's really unspeakable. It's really unspeakable, guys. It's really unspeakable. And but this is where we've come from, and this is what we've inherited, and this is what we're carrying. Whether you're on the side of just being shunned by having children and not having children, either way, as a woman, it's just a lot, especially for Black women. You have all the superstitions and different things. So we're gonna go and talk about a lot of things like that. So, but at any rate, thank you all for listening. I hope this was helpful to someone. Again, keep watching. I'm gonna start detailing, like I said, just kind of detailing. Today I just wanted to reach back and just kind of have a a hindsight kind of view and see why we're here. What is this taboo? What is this thing that we're so ashamed? But healing the shame that binds us. There's a saying that I like. It says, a family is only as healthy as the secrets it keeps. So when if you talk about I want to be a healthy person in my family and my marriage and things like that, what kind of secrets, what kind of family secrets, what kind of bones are falling out of the closet, so these things have to be brought out to light and dealt with. It's nothing about shame. Things happen. We're human beings. If we don't have the tools, it's like this: if we don't know any better, we can't do any better. So if you don't know, you did the best you did when you don't know, and it's okay. But going forward, we want to grow and we want to change the cycle, and we really want to be free. All right, so guys, thank you so much again for listening. I'll be back. We're gonna keep doing these videos. Keep watching, subscribe, support, like the videos, share the videos, turn on notifications. You can see that, so that you'll see when we put out videos. Also, please go visit my Instagram page. I'm learning about all this social media stuff. I'm trying to get out there and just like spread the word. Like I said, I'm not a public person at all. Like, I don't really like to have all my business. Like, I don't really like to kind of talk about all this stuff, but I'm just gonna do it because I feel like it's so important. And I already told y'all guys all that. I don't want to keep saying the same thing. But anyway, Instagram page is Infertility, the Black Experience. Like I said, share the videos, like. And again, guys, just thank you so much for watching. I love you all. I wish you blessings and peace and love and light. And I just want you guys to have a good day, a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.